Hey, I found my purpose, I'm driven. The scriptures are worth of division. I will not reverse my decision. See hate in the word is opinions. Don't read them like terms and conditions. No, Jesus has certainly risen. I'm rapping with churches I'm missing. Good beats like I work in the kitchen. You mad? Heard you was dissing, cause I'm not a Democrat. They out here murdering infants. Hey, I don't get that. Joe Biden said I ain't black, but I been black. I guess I'm a white supremacist in fact. They got a narrative I go against that. Oh, they know I'm a menace. They tried to cancel, but no, I ain't finished. The hate really love like a zero in tennis. Why he's so terrible? He's so offensive. He's so religious and chauvinist bigot. Terrorist that could explode any minute. So much on Nancy Pelosi to fix it. Doesn't match mandate, he's going against it. I was good to be hated, that's why I was born. Be happy, it's not even my final form. Gotta piss someone off, so you know, ban porn. The karma's gonna always come beat for the storm. Hey, I got 'em mad, I got 'em angry, they upset. They try to cancel me, but I ain't turned down yet. FBI be keeping tabs like they obsessed. I just bought another AR just to flex. I got 'em mad, I got 'em angry, they upset. They try to cancel me, but I ain't turned down yet. FBI be keeping tabs like they upset. I just bought another AR just to flex.
They don't like it when I speak my mind. Say it's an opinion, but God is the truth. Living in sin like, see, I'm fine. Got them upset like supper's up on the roof. They don't like it when I leave or divide. You lead in the blind, but I see the proof in Luke 6:39. No mystery of mine, I need the review. We have relative content. You're better than content. Tell me what's next. Need context. Nas X fell off. He's dancing with Satan, not content. Everybody thinking that it's all about him. Never got around him. Ain't forgot about him, not yet. Shoving your narrative down my throat. Say one thing, gotta be calling in a bomb threat. Only you're following Hollywood, won't believe God is good to me. It's lazy. Always extreme. Don't you see that Hollywood paints every Christian is crazy? Cease to amaze me. I know it may seem they're on your side when they follow you. They acknowledge you to say something negative. But me and Bryson, we honor you.
Hey, I got 'em mad, I got 'em angry, they upset. They try to cancel me, but I ain't turned down yet. FBI be keeping tabs like they obsessed. I just bought another AR just to flex. I got 'em mad, I got 'em angry, they upset. They try to cancel me, but I ain't turned down yet. FBI be keeping tabs like they upset. I just bought another AR just to flex. I just bought another AR just to flex.
You know what? Let's talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is the Captain's Quarters show, and I am on YouTube and Facebook right now via From Left to Right USA on both platforms. Appreciate all of you for joining me. I am going to get started here momentarily. I'm going to be recapping the whole Carlee Russell situation that unfolded over the last several days, and try to tell people to, just look at the evidence that we have, that it was like too many questions that were unanswered, and people were kind of upset. I guess they wanted her to be abducted, and they wanted her to be, with some person somewhere, having pictures taken of her and all that stuff that she claimed. I guess they wanted that to be the case, but it wasn't. And so going to be breaking down everything from the beginning to the Hoover PD press conference where they released all the information that they have. So I will be getting started here momentarily. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Until that time, I'm going to play another song for you all. Let me get that queued up. Appreciate y'all for joining. If you will, as you come in, hit that like and hit that subscribe. Hit the like and the subscribe as you come in. I do appreciate it. All right, get that going, and I will be back here momentarily to get started with the show. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy this.
Yeah. Hey. Step one, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step two, kill your old self and become new. Step three, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step four, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step, hey, Christ walk, step, step. And soon you gon' have to put the meal down and get some meat. Preacher sound good when you a baby. Christ, that ain't that sweet. Easy being Christian on the net, but what about in them streets? We at war with all these evil rulers. Are you down for beef? You gon' get persecuted by the world, even by your friends. It's gonna be the closest people to you. You thought that's your man. Devil working, he gon' push the limit to see where you stand. Especially when you have a weak moment. He know that's his chance. What you down to lose for the kingdom? You might lose your bands. I mean, look at me as an example. I done locked my fans. All these demons trying to bring you down anywhere they can. Are you gonna endure it to the end? Tell me what's your plan. Step one, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step two, kill your old self and become new. Step three, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step four, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step, hey, Christ walk, step.
All right, folks. Let's get it started. So, once again, welcome in the Captain's Quarters show via From Left to Right USA on Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate you all for joining. Now, this Carlee Russell situation. So, the whole thing started about 5 days ago now. So, she called the local PD there in Hoover and claimed to have seen a young white male toddler about 3 to 4 years old walking beside or along near the interstate 459. And so, of course, when the police get a phone call where somebody is claiming to see a child walking along the interstate at like 9:30 at night, that's a high alert type of situation. That's a situation that's extremely urgent. Okay, so, and police got there in under 4 minutes. So great response time. Now they get there and there's no Carlee. Carlee is nowhere to be found, nor is there a child anywhere. And so when the story initially came out, I didn't know about all the ins and outs of it. I just kept hearing about it. So I said, you know what, let me go look at the story. Let me go read the news and see what's going on. So as I read it and I saw where she saw this toddler and then she was gone. But I'm thinking, if there was a toddler walking along the interstate, my first question was, well, who else called in to report the same thing? It's highly unlikely, nearly impossible that one person is going to see a child if there is a child when there's hundreds of cars passing. That made no sense. And so as there was a video that was out where you could see her on the side of the road and she's not even, normally if you think you saw a child, you're going to, as soon as your car stops, you get out, you're going to run or walk as fast as you can to get to the location where you allegedly saw that child. She didn't do that. She parked, she got out of her vehicle, she piddle paddled around and stood around, wasn't walking in any certain direction. It made no sense. And then she just disappeared. Those are just red flags to me. Like, just either one by itself, you can isolate either one of those things and it's almost destroys the whole narrative, the whole scenario that was supposed to be happening. And it made no sense. And then you couple the situation with the sister, or I guess they clarified it because I think it was her boyfriend's sister. She was on the phone with her. So you were on the phone with dispatch telling them about this child, but then you hung up and then you called your boyfriend and sister for what? And you talking to her, I guess the sister said she could hear her say, "Are you okay?" to a child, but the child never said anything. So she just assumed that there was a child there. Probably was no one there, honestly. So that was weird. Then there was a scream, a shout, scream, something, and then the phone disconnected. So it was just really weird. And then, there's usually when there's an abduction, like there was a situation here in Alabama a few years ago with Anaya Blanchard, and she actually was abducted, and the circumstance of her abduction was very obvious pretty fast that something actually did happen to her. Like there was an individual, like they had video where an individual was seen making contact with her, not only talking to her, but then physically grabbing her. And so, or there was a witness, excuse me. So there was a video of her at the store, and this person talked to her, and then a witness said that they saw the man physically putting her in a vehicle. So, but in Carlee's situation, none of this is going on. Nobody else sees the child. No one else sees her being forced into a vehicle. Nothing like that. And so it was just very odd. And then her family, I understand where they come from as far as if your daughter goes missing, of course you're going to be very upset. You're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a lot of things, I'm sure, running through your head as to what could have happened. And so I don't fault them for that as far as initially believing that Carlee was abducted or taken. I can see that. Like she's one place at one time, at one moment, and then a moment later, she's not there anymore. But her vehicle's still there with her purse and her wig and her Apple Watch. So I get that part. But then as the story goes on, like a day later, so much came out the next day that even I made a post. I said, I can pull it up so I can read it, but even I was questioning. I'm like, it's just when the story is too elaborate, sometimes something is off with it. It's just it was too many details and too many pieces that if they were true, it would be one of the most extraordinary scenarios ever. And so for all that to happen the way that allegedly it was told that it happened, it was just outlandish. It was too outlandish. A lot of people did not see it that way. A lot of people saw that they wanted, it's almost like people wanted her to be abducted or, that be the case. And they wanted more information to come out. And there was a lot of information that was already out. If you really look at it, there was already information out. So I said, go back to it. Okay, here it is. That was 3 days ago. Yep. Okay, first one. 6 days ago. 6 days ago, I shared the local news station here. I shared it on my Facebook, and I said, hopefully she is found alive and safe, but the circumstances are extremely odd and questionable. Okay, that was 6 days ago that I shared the news story about her, and I said that. And then 4 days ago, so 2 days after that, I said I posted another story about her situation where this 4 days ago was when she was found. Well, she came home. She wasn't found. She just came home. I said she didn't want to be found until she decided she wanted to be found. I knew her situation was too odd to be kidnapping, quote unquote. some of these folks jumped out of the window over her circumstances. I wasn't convinced. Right? It was too much. It was too much. And so I just think that it was I can like I said, I understand the family initially, but then keep pushing the narrative that she was taking when there was no evidence to prove that is crazy. And so I'm gonna pull up this story. Let's see here. This is what taking really is right here. This is Anaya Blanchard's mother. So this lady had her daughter who was in college. This was in 2019 when it happened with Anaya Blanchard. Her mother and father had a daughter who was in college, who just happened to be at a gas station, and a person who came in with evil intentions. He saw she was by herself, and he did take her. He forced her into a vehicle, and just horrendous situation. He ended up murdering her and dumped her body in some woods in Macon County. And that's like, Macon County is like about halfway between Montgomery, Alabama and Auburn, Alabama. And so very wooded area, very country. And this lady, this mother, got the Anaya's law passed in Alabama, where those who commit crimes other than capital murder, because capital murder in Alabama, you don't get bail. But they expanded that. So if it's an assault, it can be like a robbery, it can be like sexual assault. So other violent crimes, they can use Anaya Blanchard, the Anaya's law, to revoke bond. So there will be no bond for you. That's because her mother pushed that and got that passed. And so she took time out of what she's got going on, because she's very active in the community. She lives in the Birmingham area, near where this situation happened. They were from Homewood, Alabama, which is right in the suburb of Birmingham. Just like Hoover is a suburb of Birmingham. And this lady took time out of her day and time out of her week to help this family find Carlee. She said that, this is from AL.com. Angela Harris, which was the mother of Anaya Blanchard, awoke Friday morning to the news that a young woman in Hoover was missing. It was a gut punch, a feeling she knows all too well, according to the story. She quickly rallied her troops, and she got in touch with Talitha and Carlos Russell, who were the parents of Carlee Russell. And so they got to work, looking. They didn't even know, as if you read this article, they didn't even know where to look, because there was no information. There's no information that told them where to look. All they had was an empty car and no idea. There was no other vehicle that ever came up or anything like that to pick her up. So nobody knew where to even look for her. And she was a long way from home, by the way. So this is so disrespectful to have this lady be a part of that search. And this family, they knew. Initially they didn't know, but eventually, a couple of days in, like when that next day, it was enough evidence out there that by Saturday it was a situation where she wanted to be missing for one reason or another. She wanted to be missing. It wasn't an abduction type of situation. There was enough evidence for that. And the family knew that, and they kept doing. The brother kept doing TikTok videos or whatnot, talking about his sister and how she was abducted, and it's this whole narrative around the situation, with it being a black woman. Everybody wanted this story to be at the forefront, because typically, a lot of people feel like white women get so much press when they go missing, and in this situation, they wanted that same press. But there was enough evidence where y'all knew that this wasn't that type of situation. And it's so crazy to me to read that this mother right here, Anaya Blanchard's mother, went so hard to help them find, and had to, relive her own situation where her daughter got brutally murdered. And for them to use her in that way is just so disrespectful. It's so dishonest. It's so, I just read this article. I'm like, wow. And I mean, she went hard to help them. Absolutely insane. Now, I did. So I read, what I said about it, right? 4 days ago. But I also did a podcast. I did a podcast this past Sunday. I did the Chris Miles show. And I called into the show because I wanted to talk about this Carlee situation. Because by that time, I knew enough about the situation that it was a fake story. Like the whole scenario about the child and stuff, I knew that was fake. So I called in. I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna pull that up, and I'm gonna play where I called in and spoke about it, because I knew it was just too much. Too much. All right, sorry if you got a headphone. Okay. So kind of hard to hear some of the parts. I'll stop it and try to re-say what I said in the audio. But here we go.
Let's make sure you get it right this time. You see?
Hello, thanks for calling the Chris Miles show. What's going on?
What's going on, L?
Shout out to the Chris Miles show.
What's up, man? I want to talk about this Carlee Russell situation.
Come on with it.
So, like I heard you just say, that she wasn't found, she came home.
Correct.
That's literally what happened. So, when I heard about this story, when it first came out, and I didn't know the details, all I heard was that, she was missing, that she was possibly abducted. Of course, like everybody else, I'm like, okay, I hope she, gets found, and this and that. And then I started actually went and read the story to see what more about what happened. So when I read the story, it said that she called police because she was on the interstate talking about she saw a child, 2-year-old, 3-year-old child with a diaper on walking down the interstate.
Correct.
So I'm like, why is she the only person that called that in? Like, it's not like she got eyes better than anybody else, but she can see something they can't see. So why was she the only person that called that in?
So right here, I'm saying, why was she the only person that called in about the toddler? That's what I was saying right here.
That was really number one. Number two, when the sister said she's on the phone with her, the sister said, like, it was like the scream, and then the phone went dead. Then the police showed up, she wasn't there. Red flag number two. So you called police, and then you weren't there when the police got there. But you saw a child that nobody else saw. Okay, so that's strange already. So I had questions, and I just feel like when it comes to the black community in particular, black people are they're so like gung-ho on wanting the media to cover a black female that's missing, that it don't matter what the circumstances are, we don't use common sense to evaluate the situation.
So I'm saying that, like, in the black community, people wanted so bad for the media to pick this up and to push this to the forefront that, and so many black people, they almost like they just gravitate to these situations when it comes to black women or black people in general. And they go so hard that they do it to a fault because they don't slow down, look at it logically, take their time and assess it before they just push it as if it's a real situation. And if anybody, I'm saying in this call that if anybody had taken the time to just look at what we knew and what we didn't know, they wouldn't have gone as hard as they went to say that she was missing and that she was abducted, because that was the main part of it. That really was the difference in the story. It got so big because of the whole abduction scenario. That's why it was such a pressing matter, and people really wanted it to be at the forefront. If it was just a missing lady, it wouldn't have been, that urgent of a situation. But that whole scenario, the whole lie, was what got everybody, especially black people, so connected to it emotionally, to where they didn't even look at the circumstances and say that don't make any sense. So that's what I'm saying.
Most people just jump out the window, and now we see there wasn't nothing wrong with her. She came back home when she was ready to get found. It looked like she did as well, and all was hiding out for whatever reason. Who knows? She got kicked out of school. She might have had a boyfriend that day downstairs. Who knows what happened? But there's a made-up story.
So I said that perhaps she was kicked out of school. Maybe she had a boyfriend that dumped her. I was saying, who knows the reason? Because a lot of people were saying, well, what would be her reason for making up this elaborate story with a man with orange hair, getting her and a white lady, and then using a child on the interstate, and they put her in the semi truck and take pictures of her while she's nude and all this other stuff that came out. It's like, why would she come up with all that? I mean, people, what I'm saying is people come up with crazy scenarios all the time. People do crazy things, and we don't understand what's in their mind of why they're doing it. They're just doing it. In their mind, it makes sense. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know why she did it. All I knew was the scenario that was given did not make sense. The puzzle pieces were not matching. The dots were not connecting. Period. Now, her parents then come out like 3 days ago and say, she had already come back home, and they say, well, they put out a statement. We want our privacy. Give us our privacy. We are exhausted. They said they had been up for 3 days straight, no sleep. Understandable. That's understandable. But here's the thing. Let's see here. Let me read this comment before I jump into that. What's up, Adrian? He said the whole Rachel aspect of it silly to me. I think the police force same amount of effort no matter who it is. Okay, so yeah, please give effort no matter who it is. I knew some people would make it about race, and that is utterly ridiculous. Very true. The police force would put forth the same amount of effort to find any person who was lost, especially now since we are in the age of information and social media has an effect on the reputation of the police. Very true. So very true. And so, let's see. Let's see if I got anything else. Okay. Very true, Adrian. And so her family put out that statement. They said they want their privacy. Okay, cool. But then the next day, they go to New York to do the Today Show on NBC. Like, okay. What sense does it make that you just put out a statement and said, we want our privacy? we're exhausted. They said that. Now, it's very interesting that I Googled for that statement, and I could not get it. I could not find it. But many of us know we read it. But for some reason, it's like been buried. I don't see it anywhere. Every time I put in to find the statement of them talking about they want privacy, the Today Show interview pops up. But I'm like, before they did the interview, they said they wanted privacy the day before. So it's like they got buried. But anyway, it's funny how that kind of happens. But so they said they wanted privacy. Then they go to the Today Show to do an interview. And so I have that. I'm gonna cue that up because I think this was very interesting. The way that the mother, because the daddy, he didn't really say too much of anything. The mother did all the talking. And it's very interesting how she answered some of these questions. Let's see here. Yep. So let's listen to this.
What was it like? To me, I mean, just so much joy.
This morning, in an exclusive sit-down with NBC News, the parents of 25-year-old Carlee Russell are speaking out, describing the moment their daughter appeared on their doorstep after being missing for more than 48 hours.
What did you do when you saw her? We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So
How does that make sense? She showed up at home. She walks up to your door. Hey, y'all, I'm back. I found myself, y'all. Yeah, I'm sorry y'all had to look for me for a couple of days, but I had to do some things, whatever. I'm here. I'm back. So when she gets there, why is she answering the question as if the paramedics were already there? Like they already knew she was coming home, and so they just met her there. Why did she answer that like that? She said that they were trying to hug her, but they wanted to keep their distance while the paramedics were helping her. Like she had to get there first, then y'all call the paramedics and 911 and say, "Hey, my daughter's home," and then they sent somebody out there. So in between time, y'all could have been hugging and doing all this stuff. Why is she answering it as if they're already there, administering help to her? That's odd. That's very odd.
So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her. But
so they didn't hug her at all when she got there. So when she got there initially, they didn't hug her. Come on. I'm pointing that out because this whole scenario, everything has been lies, and like even in this interview, you're not even being honest about something as simple as when she got there, what was it like? And it's like, I didn't hug her because the paramedics were here. So that the paramedics just knew to be there? That makes no sense.
Last Thursday, police say Carlee called 911 to report a toddler walking alone on the interstate. She pulled over while on the phone with a family member who described hearing Carlee scream.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running. All her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night.
there were actually just so many calls and texts from people who maliciously lied to us. I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation.
And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public.
she got to deal with people, I guess like me, making allegations, false allegations about her. But it's okay for her to create a whole scenario and make up all these lies to have the whole nation, the whole state of Alabama, looking for her for no reason. That's okay. But we can't question the lying, the conniving of not only Carlee, but then her family as well. Because they know what the deal is, and they're still pushing it like they're pushing this out there like it's still the scenario where she was taking. It's so disrespectful.
To let the investigation play out, but mentioning an abductor, her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee.
And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life.
Why does she have that little smirk? Why did the mama have that little smirk when she said, you know, we can't talk about the details of you know, that? Let me go back a little bit.
Carlee.
And when I talked to you all on Saturday, you also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss.
Look at her face. Why is she looking like that when she's answering this question about the specifics of what her daughter went through to get back home?
The details of that.
But they say one thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
But she made it back to you.
She made it back.
Yeah, she
That's all Daddy said the whole time. She made it back.
did make it back. All right, Priscilla, so investigators are obviously...
So y'all had time to go to New York. I'm assuming they went to New York. I mean, that's where the studio is. I doubt they brought the studio down here to Alabama. So, but you had time to go do that show. And mind you, when they're doing the interview, this snippet was like 3 minutes, but like 4 minutes. But they weren't talking the whole time. Like it was filled in with other video, other commentary. So that was only like maybe 2 minutes of them answering questions. So best believe they did like a 20, 30 minute interview. And then they spliced it down, edited it down to that. And also they got paid because these big time platforms, they're gonna pay you. So not only did y'all go do the interview, but you got paid. You went to where the money was, because they could have easily done something right here in Alabama. All these news stations, all these media organizations that have been talking about this story, and you mean you couldn't go to any of them? You wanted to go to the big time to go do the interview. That's further telling of the situation. It just looked like you trying to milk it for some reason. Like what is happening? Let's see. My cousin said Carlee was searching abductions and Amber Alerts before she was abducted. So true. I'm finna get to that too. I'm queuing up. I got all the receipts. So I'm going to post that up in just a second. We're gonna go through that through the Hoover PD conference where they called her out. I got that coming up. let's see, Adrian said, I honestly think the parents didn't know for real. I think when they went on the show, it was too late. They had to keep the narrative, and they didn't want to throw their daughter under the bus. If it were me, I would have canceled the interview. So true. So true. Which is maybe why she was smirking when she answered that question about what her daughter went through to get home. And then she was like, yeah, she had to fight physically and fight mentally. Who was she fighting, herself? I mean, because I saw somebody posted talking about no weapon formed against her shall prosper. Like, I mean, she's a weapon to herself. Like, it ain't nobody else out here. Nobody took her. Like, nobody else is hurting her. She's hurting herself. But yeah, it's crazy that they're still pushing that though. It's just, I just think it's so disrespectful. But let me cue up this press conference, because that was, and it's interesting because somebody was asking me a couple of days ago, you know, when would they come out? When would Hoover come out? I'm like, hey, I give them to the end of the week. By Friday, I think they'll have everything compiled, all their evidence compiled. Because what they didn't want to do was just release, you know, information, but not have a good compilation of information. And where they couldn't, you know, explain certain things, they wanted to have a good amount of information. And they went and dug up. They got cell phone records. They got video. They got her searches, all that type of stuff. They had enough evidence where they could say, look, too much. It's too rotten over here. It's things over here. Too much. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. And so they did what they needed to do, but they got it done on Wednesday. So yesterday. So I'm like, I was like, man. So I gave them to the end of the week. They're ready to go. But let me see. Let me cue this up. So shout out to Hoover, man, because it's got to be crazy to be a police agency where something like this is so polarizing, and people are looking at your police department and wanting you to step up and do what you need to do. And it's like you're putting all these resources, not only you, but state agencies and the feds, and all these people are trying to find this young lady. And so it's just kind of embarrassing because Hoover, you know, is a very nice area, very decent area. And, you know, for them to get that spotlight put on them like that, I think they wanted to, and they did a good job of really taking their time, getting what they need, and then putting it out to the public and saying, look, this is the real. You know, all the other stuff that was said, there's no evidence to prove that. Here's what we have. So they did a good job. Let's see here. So
determine the time frame. Carlee's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. No one has called to report that a child is missing, and the Hoover Police Department did not locate any evidence of a small child walking down the interstate. Data from Carlee's phone, including her Life 360 app, shows that she traveled approximately 600 yards in her vehicle while she was on the phone with 911, stating that she was following a child. 600 yards. That is 6 football fields straight, 600 yards. The Hoover 911 Center received a second call.
600. Her vehicle traveled 600 yards. So, like I was saying, in my mind, I'm thinking when you see something on the side of the road, like how many of us have been driving down the highway, you see a deer on the side of the interstate. When you see the deer, usually you're maybe, you know, if you got headlights on, you got your bright lights. Let's say you got your brights on, you can see it maybe 50 yards ahead of you, give or take. But if you're going 60, 70 miles per hour, or who knows, maybe she's going like 80, who knows? And if you see it and you're like, you want to stop and get out, let's pretend that's a child. If you're going to stop, you can't just hit the brakes going 60, 70 miles per hour and just stop right then and there. You're going to go past the target or what you saw. And so it made no sense that she drove that far. And then instead of getting out of the car and going or backing up or doing anything to get back to where the point of sighting, she didn't even do that. She went 600 yards. That's a long way. There was no urgency.
From Carlee's mother, stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly. They located Carlee's wig and cell phone in the grass near the vehicle. Her purse was located in the front seat of her vehicle with her Apple Watch in the purse. The food she ordered for tzatziki's was also in the car. The items she purchased from Target, as well as the items taken from her place of employment, were not in the vehicle, nor were they located anywhere around the city.
And she also took items from her place of employment. Wow.
Hoover police deployed all available assets from the point in the search for Carlee. Additional resources were called in to include our own drone unit, crime scene investigators. Numerous detectives responded to the scene. Throughout the day Friday, officers from surrounding local and federal agencies assisted Hoover police in the search for Carlee Russell. Officers returned to the scene on 459 to conduct a thorough line search for evidence. K-9 teams from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to check for any sign of Carlee, the child that she claimed to see, and anything else that could be considered evidence in this case. Those searches all turned up empty. Private citizens, including search parties organized by her family, friends, began looking everywhere that they could to find any trace. These searches took place throughout the day Friday and again on Saturday, yielding nothing. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back.
Somebody had posted a picture with showing the doll Chucky because he got like that orange hair. And they were like, that's who it was. And it was like Chucky and then his girlfriend and then their son that they had. And it's like the son was a little child that was on the interstate. Chucky's the man with the orange hair, and then Chucky's girlfriend is the white lady that she's saying she never saw, but she heard her. This how elaborate this is. This is just it's too much. She was she writing a book? What's going on?
She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded, but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her, but she does not remember them having any physical or sexual contact. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest.
Yeah, because at that point, they know this chick is crazy. She lying, right? Why you always lying? She lying. They knew that at that point, so they already knew they had enough to now. All they needed to go do was they got all her statements. Cool, great story. All right, now they just gonna go back and retrace the steps, go back and get the videos. They gonna look at them cell phone records and do all that stuff. I mean, they there's no need to talk to her anymore at that point.
Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis. Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to their disappearance that I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "You have to pay for an Amber Alert" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught" was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term Birmingham bus station was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were 2 searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding the maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time.
I wonder why that is. What was she looking up?
We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all for what y'all do, because wow. So, okay, let's see here. Somebody said, dude, this Carlee needs prison. That's very true. So true. And part of the people asked me, they were like, well, you know, will we get an explanation of this situation? Because this scenario of a missing person, people go missing all the time, from young kids, teenagers, young adults, older adults, you know, people elderly, people go missing a lot, right, throughout the country. And most of the time, they're just missing. They're missing. It's not that anything, there's not any evidence or video or something of somebody witnessed them being taken. Normally they're just missing. And so when you see those cases, when they get found a day later, 2 days later, the same day, maybe a couple weeks, normally you don't get an explanation of what happened. Where were they? Why were they there? You know, was there anything foul that happened? You normally you don't get that. You just get an update on the story. It says update to the story. They were found. That's it. But in this situation, I said we likely won't get an explanation. There won't be any information that comes out that says what happened. But the difference is with her is that she told investigators, right? You gave statements and said that these people that look like this took me. They put me here. They bound my arms and hands. They took pictures of me, I believe. Like, you gave very detailed information, a detailed account of what you say happened. Therefore, you're saying that a crime got committed against you. So rather than you just being missing, just being honest about, hey, I just, I got a lot going on in my life, and I just, I'm not mentally there. Instead of just saying that, and the police would have been like, okay, cool, hey, family, go get her some help. That's all they would have been like. They wouldn't have been any criminal charges. But because she went to the extent to make up this whole scenario and possibly putting other men and other people that maybe fit a description, maybe it could have been in that area, and maybe it could possibly fit the description. It could be a man out there with orange hair. That could happen. Because she did that, now you're going into criminal territory because now you're lying to police. You're willfully lying. So that's why they came back and gave us the explanation of what happened. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know. But because she was doing the Google searches for how to steal money without getting caught and looking up the movie Taken, looking up how much it costs for an Amber Alert, I didn't even know you had to charge. They charge for that. I could have sworn it was just a thing where if you're a child at a certain age and there's certain circumstances surrounding the child's disappearance where there's evidence that they were taken by somebody, that they put out Amber Alert. I didn't think you had to send a check-in, money order. I didn't know you had to cash out the government for that. But she's doing all these Google searches. So there's so much evidence to prove that you were trying to trick people, bamboozle people into believing the story. For what end? Who knows? At this point, we may never know. But that's neither here nor there. The reason why she did it really doesn't matter. It's like when you go to court, a person goes to court for murder. They don't have to prove, the motive of why they did it. They just have to prove, beyond a reasonable doubt that, look, this person has fingerprints on the weapon. They had the same cleaning products that they tried to clean the scene with. They had it on their hands or on their clothes. Their DNA was found there. They had hair that was left there. That's all. They're going to give that information. And so it's just, it's very odd. It's just too much. And, shame on the family, man. Shame on the family for even still pushing it to this day. And I get like Adrian said, he said that, they were just too deep into it. So they kind of they didn't want to throw the daughter under the bus. I mean, I can't let him slide with that. Initially, cool, but then at this point, to still be pushing it days after she's already home and the situation, nah, man, that don't fly. Let's see. Carlee said, like a lot of people was getting mad because everything everybody was saying was true. We just had to wait for the police to say it. Yes. How the F you seen the baby on the road and nobody's seen anyone but you getting out of your car? Surely if there was a baby on that road, more than just her would have seen that toddler. Then went to Target to get cheese, stole a robe, and had cash in her sock. I heard today that her parents packing up and they taking off. I heard that too. I heard that. I forgot where I saw that, but I heard somebody say that, or I read it, that the family is moving. What was up with that? The funny thing is, she said the woman was playing in her hair. Yeah, that, man, hilarious. Maybe that's why they abducted her. Maybe, she said nothing sexually happened. So maybe they took her because maybe they wanted to check out her hair because her hair, something special about her hair. And they wanted to touch it, feel it, look at it, and then after that, they were going to just release her. But that's what they did. They just played with her hair and then they let her go. and then maybe they ended up in the fairyland somewhere. They went back to fairyland, wherever they came from. Let's see here. I don't care. I would throw my kid under the bus. They grown as you know what. That's right. She's 25 years old. That's another piece to it too. She's 25 years old. She's at school. They put this out. They put this out so they laid it on thick because they said, "Oh man, young black woman, man, she's beautiful, smart. She's in school. She got a good job. Come from a good family. This and that." Like they were laying it on thick, right? When I say they, I'm talking about like the media and people on social media. All the pro, black type media groups, they were just like laying it on thick, like, man, we gotta find this sister, man. This queen is out there, man. We gotta find this queen. She is special. We gotta find her. And it's like, dude, it's common sense tell you like she lying somewhere. The story is too fantastical for this to be real. Like, you don't see that. But that goes to why I did my video when I said I did my video. If you haven't seen my video here on YouTube, it's called The Curious Case of Carlee Russell. And I talked about the broader issue of why I find issues with why or I have issues with her lying and going into this elaborate story and her family still pushing this narrative about an abduction, because so many black people have an issue with the media. They feel like the media doesn't get behind missing black women or missing little black girls. And in this situation, they're exploiting the system. And it's like you're getting more press and you're doing all this to bring focus onto you. All the resources are going to you and you don't even need them. But there's really young girls that are black, white, whatever. I personally, I don't even look at that as a motive for why I would look at a certain case or not. Like if a person's missing, it don't matter what color they are. You know what I'm saying? If they're missing, they're missing. But people were so upset. They were like, man, the media just doesn't get behind the black women and stuff, and we need to focus on her. And it's like, y'all go to that to a fault. Y'all want that so much that y'all will ignore obvious lies and obvious fabricated story just because she fits a certain narrative that you think needs to be put to the forefront. She's a black lady that's in school, that's pretty, and all this stuff. And she made y'all look like fools. All these people should feel like fools. They really should. Do they feel like fools? Who knows? You know, who knows? I mean, I guess I'm gonna be paying attention because I want to see how many of those people that went so hard for her return, and then after she came home, after she found herself, all those people that are still pushing the whole abduction thing. She couldn't have lied. You know, this is information that still is yet to come out, and this and that. Crazy. I want to see how many of those people will now go back and say, you know what? Yeah, I was tricked. You know, I was emotionally connected to the story so much that I just ignored the obvious signs. There were red flags. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ever walked into like a birthday party, like a surprise party or something, and it's like just people pop up and it's like just lights and candles and streamers and all this stuff, all these colors, and it's like it's just in your face. You can't help but see everything. There was red flags in this story. They were everywhere. You couldn't miss them. And people were so tunnel vision that they couldn't see over here. They couldn't see over here to see all the red flags. That's an issue. If you're one of those people that were so tunnel vision on this because of what she represented to you, because of her color and because of whatever minority and the media, they don't want to shine a light over here. If you're one of those people, you should this should make you want to reflect on yourself and say, is my heart, is my soul in the right place? Because it shouldn't matter like that. It shouldn't be that big of a deal to you to where you will just go to this extreme, put your energy into this type of situation where it's obvious lies. Let's see here. D said, I would respect them if they would just suck it up and come clean. 100%. I said that on somebody's post. I'm like, look, she wasn't, because at the time, I think she had just come home. This was like Saturday. Somebody was like, well, we don't have all the information and this and that. I'm like, well, at this point, just if your daughter's got mental problems or whatever, mental health issues, mental break, she using drugs or whatever, she done hit some shrooms or something, whatever the case is, that's got her seeing people with red hair and all the babies on the interstate and stuff. If that's something real in her mind, based on drug use or based on mental issues, just you either one, come out and just say that. Just say, hey, we're glad to have our daughter back. This abduction thing, it looks like that's a ruse. That's not the situation, but there are things that we need to help her with or whatever at this time. And then you know what you do? You shut up. You go on mute. Just stop talking. Because you keep doing these interviews, going to you say you want privacy, and then you turn around and go to the Today Show, like the number one place that people want to go to tell their story on a national scale. Just be quiet. Stop talking. Let's see. Callie said race plays no factor in this. My heart goes out to Anaya's mom. Yes. Yeah. That's, man, that situation with Anaya was just, I don't even know how many people like really, I don't know. Some people may remember that story. Some people may not even know all the details of that story, but that was, man, her family went through it. Anaya was very close to her brother. Imagine how he feels. He's the older brother to Anaya, and your sister gets snatched by a monster, a real life monster, and he does what he does to her, and dumps her body in some woods like she's trash. There was blood in that car. There was so much blood in the car. Police probably knew then she wasn't alive. Because when they found her vehicle, it was here in Montgomery at an apartment complex. And there was blood in the car, and there was Clorox and cleaning supplies or cleaning smell too. So somebody was in there trying to clean. That was just, man, that was tough. And for them to go through that, and then for this family to have that lady out there on the ground looking, when they knew, you knew your daughter wasn't all there. Whatever the case is, you knew she wasn't all there. You got all these people out there, not only Anaya's mother, but you got all these people out there helping you find your daughter when you know this lady, something's up. This is not just a completely random act. It's not a complete random act. There have been other things going on that people just They saw it, they heard it, but they were like, I'm gonna let that go, whatever, let that ride. And now it's built up to this. So now she's done this big thing. And instead of them just being real about it and just saying, you know what, we just need to help our daughter, give us our privacy, and just be for real about it. Don't do interviews and stuff. Just be quiet and go help her. They can't even do that. Can't even do it. So, man, does anybody else have something they want to add? I mean, that's it in a nutshell, man. I mean, I went through the whole storyline just about. Showed it to the parents, doing the interview with what they said, and I ain't pull up I could have pulled up I don't know if I'll be able to find it. The brother when he did a TikTok video, it was so odd. I saw that video he did. It was so odd how he was talking about his sister. He said that she called the police about the toddler because she was taught to call. She did it as she was taught. I'm like, she did it as she was taught. What you mean? They're like 25 years old. Why he talking like she's 5? Like if your 5-year-old sister saw something and she called 911, then you would be like, yeah, hey, she did what she was taught to do. But a 25-year-old, why are you saying that like that? That's weird. That was weird. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find that. And then I'll wrap it up. Is it? Let's see. Okay, this might be it right here. Man, these advertisements, man, they are too much sometimes. But anyway, let's see here. I think this is it. I am not sure. I'm doing this one on the fly because I don't even know if this is even going to be the video that I want to show y'all. Let's see. I know this thing did. Okay, there we go. No. I don't know. Let me see here. See if I can find that. What else y'all got? Let's see. Adrian said, read my second comment above. It agrees with what you just said. Okay. Let me go back up. Let's scroll back. Let's see. I knew some people would make it about race. Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that. And that is utterly ridiculous. The police force would put forth the same. Oh, yeah, I did read that. I did read that. Yes. Very true. I did read that. Sure did. Yeah, so basically the police will put forth the same amount of effort to find any person who was lost, especially now since we are in the age of information and social media has an effect on the reputation of police. Yep, that's very true. I was told that's not her brother. Wow. I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, man. At this point, man, they can say Justice Smollett is her cousin, and I'll be like, okay, that's possible. I'm trying to find this video. This dude was talking so weird about his sister. Man, where's that? What's crazy was everybody had it. I saw it on somewhere. Where in the world? I don't know. I don't see it. Somebody did a parody video. I'm sure that's gonna be hilarious. I don't know. Hold on a second. All right, I don't know. You supposed to want me to do a subscription. I'm not doing a subscription to your leftist crap. But anyway, I don't see that. Right above D's. He just said, "Oh, right above D's." Let's see. I don't know which one you're talking about, man. Because the comment thing on mine is like it's showing like the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments all in the same thread. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Adrian. He did say once you tell a lie, you have to keep lying to try and validate the original lie. The truth will eventually come out. They should have just told the truth. Our baby lied. We're so sorry to have to put everyone through this. Ain't that what I just was saying? Yep. Clearly, we need to get her some help and figure out why she did this. Please continue to pray for Carlee and our family. We will return all the money that was donated to help. Yeah, exactly right, man. That's what I just said that too. They could have just been like, they could have kept it very simple, to the point, and then just be quiet. That's all you have to do. But it just seemed like they're just trying to really just milk it for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason why would be. But anyway, that is it. I appreciate y'all for being here. This will be my last video, my last time talking about this, doing my videos, doing content. It should be over with. Hopefully nothing crazy happens, like she don't come out telling the whole story about a Bigfoot or something like that. Then we got to talk about the Bigfoot that may have took her or whatever. So hopefully nothing like that crazy happens, but who knows what is liable to come out of her mouth or her family at this point. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for joining me. This was the Captain's Quarters show, happening via From Left to Right USA on Facebook and from Left to Right USA on YouTube. Appreciate y'all for joining. I was your host, L Milliner, the captain. I appreciate everyone for being here. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for interacting. If y'all will, leave a like the video, and hit that subscribe if you're on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, or if you're on YouTube, go over to Facebook, From Left to Right USA on Facebook, and join the page. Just hit 100 members. I've been pushing the last like couple months or so. Really been pushing, doing more content, and it's building this thing up like Tetris. Appreciate everybody. But until next time, I'll see y'all. I'll be doing another live on probably do one Saturday night. But till then, y'all have a great one. Peace out.